Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another set of Sauria Models releases. As you can see, we've got ourselves some Chasmosaurus, a pair of Chasmosaurus no less, and they both look super cool, but I'm also just really excited about this because there aren't all that many Chasmosaurus figures out there, and it's one of, if not my favorite species of ceratopsian of all time. There's just something about this that ever since I was a kid has really just kind of drawn me in, and to know that there is a Sauria Models release of two different Chasmosaurus looking so gorgeous is just really exciting. So we're going to go ahead and jump to a closer look before I get these painted up, and of course we'll examine them a little further with that closer look right now. So beginning with the more standing version of our Chasmosaurus, you can see that the head sculpt looks really nice. As per usual, something that you often find when it comes to the Sauria Models line, you'll find really nice, really fine skin texture here in the face, and it's extremely impressive. But with the coloration of the model currently, I feel like it might be kind of hard to really show it off to you guys in a nice way because the backdrop is so light, and as is the coloration with this light gray of the figure. So it might be a little hard to really see it right now, but we'll of course see it a little better once it's painted. But you can see the mouth is sculpted in an open position. We can kind of see the tongue sticking up there on the inside of the mouth on the lower side. There is a little bit of extra material here and there that I'm going to have to take off as I go ahead and finish the model. We can see the beak is sculpted quite nicely. It also comes to a really quite nice point right there. As you lead up, you've got the horns of our Chasmosaurus looking pretty good. The eyes as well are sculpted nicely, and you can see those would definitely be very easy to paint, which is a plus. Sometimes people sculpt their models out where the eyes are just kind of so hard to paint or even distinguish on the head, but the eyes are really nicely done on this one. As you lead up, you have that classic Chasmosaurus frill up here, and I feel like you can definitely, there we go, we can definitely see how good the scale detail looks up here. We can also obviously see that we are coated with osteoderms up here in the frill of the Chasmosaurus, and you can see we do have those very small kind of horns moving all around the outside of the frill. The dinosaur also has its head turning toward its left and has a slight tilt to the head, and from the front you can really get a nice feel for that. As you move back into the neck, you start to see all sorts of skin wrinkles and folds and stuff. You can also see some tensing in the neck of the Chasmosaurus, which looks really good. As you lead back a little bit further, we can see the muscle definition here in the front leg looks really strong. Like, it definitely is a very impressively strong ceratopsian. Moving down through the course of the leg, again, maybe not super obvious at this point, but the detailing and skin texture looks extremely well done. We can also see the foot sculpt very nicely. You can obviously see the toes individually sculpted, of course, and the nails. Very nicely sculpted. And as you lead back up into the stomach, you have again a whole bunch of skin wrinkles and folds down here in the lower part of the stomach, as well as some more of those osteoderms as you move up higher into the body, similar to what we saw up there in the frill. We can see there's a line of scutes following along the spinal column of the Chasmosaurus. And then as you move down, you can definitely see actually right there the really nice scale detail. Somehow the light has just hit it in a perfect way where we can really appreciate it right there. But as you move down, you've got the muscle definition of that overly massive thigh for our Chasmosaurus. Ceratopsians always have really thick, impressive thighs, which you can see right there. And again, the muscle definition is really nicely done as you lead down. Same deal with the calf muscle. You can see the knee, and you can also in general see tensing in that leg. And then you lead down into the rear foot sculpt, which also looks really good. Again, the toes sculpted nicely, nails sculpted nicely. And then we lead back out here into the tail, and you have a nice little curve to the tail as you lead out. Some more skin wrinkles back there behind the thigh. As you can see if you look at it from up above, the tail kind of curves in a left-leaning position. And then moving along the underside, you can see the detail and everything, especially in the throat, looks really quite nice. And then when we take a look at it from the opposing side, for the most part, it's going to look kind of the same, but one thing that will look a little bit different is the fact that you can see more of the neck over here because the dinosaur is turning its head away from us now on this side, which stretches the neck out and allows us to see it a little bit better. We can also see that this leg is kind of taking a step forward on this side as the dinosaur is maybe starting to turn in that left direction. I'm not really sure where it's going, but it's obviously found something intriguing over there. You can see the detail a little bit better over here, as both legs are definitely a little bit further spread apart, allowing you to see the stomach a little bit nicer, as well as all of those skin wrinkles and folds and stuff. And as you lead back, the rear leg is in almost the same position as the opposing leg, but just back a little bit further. And then again, we lead back out to the tail. So that is the kind of standing version. And then we also have the sitting version. So this one looks like it's resting or is maybe about to kind of get up. But again, the head sculpt on this one as well looks pretty close to the same as what we had seen on the first one. Like, there aren't any real big differences outside of the positioning. The mouth of this one is also open, but slightly, like a little bit less, I would say, than we saw on the other version. And then as you lead up, you can see the frill. Again, looks nice, just like the other one did. Again, coated with osteoderms and really nice scale detail if my camera would focus correctly on it. If we take a look over here, you can kind of see the positioning of the head of this one is sort of leaning down and definitely scrunching the skin up in the neck and throat right there, which you can see very nicely. And also leaning toward the dinosaur's right a little bit, which you can see. The back of the frill as well looks really quite nice. Again, I feel like once I get some paint work on this, you'll really be able to appreciate how good the fine detail is, I think, especially when it comes to the scale detail. But as you lead back, you can see the exceptionally muscular front legs here, and you'll definitely see the tensing of the legs, which is very nicely shown off in the sculpt. But right now, you know, these front legs are kind of pulling or pushing the body up off of the ground, so basically supporting the weight of the dinosaur as the rear legs are kind of relaxing. So I like the fact that he has highlighted the tensing of the muscles so nicely. You can see, the feet really nicely sculpted. The toes, it's actually kind of up on the toes, which you can see right there. And then as you move back, you get the detailing of the stomach. Again, more of those osteoderms moving throughout. You can see them here moving down into the hip and thigh of the Chasmosaurus. You've obviously got the legs kind of folded underneath right there. And then if we take a look at the opposing side, we can see how the tail is now curving toward us. And you can also see more of those osteoderms and stuff out there. You can also see how this leg is kind of like squatting and kind of leaning over here to the side. This leg completely, the dinosaur is laying on. This leg is just kind of off to the side of our Chasmosaurus, as again, it's just relaxing. We've got the stomach kind of sitting on the ground right there, showing that the Chasmosaurus definitely has a nice bit of weight to it. And again, a little bit of a bulging belly right there. You can see, again, really nice detailing. When you look at it from up above, all of the muscle definition and the tensing of the muscles and everything through the course of the model. And again, you can see the same thing over here with this front leg, just like we saw on the first side. So this Chasmosaurus as well is gorgeous, and I love this one specifically because this kind of seated pose isn't something you see too often, so it's a really, really nice touch. So we're at the point now where I need to get these painted up, so let's go ahead and get them painted, and we'll come back and check them out in a moment. So here are my finished Chasmosaurus figures, and you can see they definitely look really cool. I was really actually quite happy with the way that these turned out. I always kind of have, I feel like in my own personal opinion, I feel like I have difficulty at times when it comes to painting ceratopsians and coming up with a color scheme that kind of portrays everything you would want to see on a ceratopsian nice and naturally. Like specifically the frill always for some reason gives me a problem. And I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out because I feel like overall, you know, it doesn't look too flashy, but does definitely still have some elements of flashiness to it, but still looking pretty naturalistic overall. And again, you can see when you look nice and close, the detail is absolutely gorgeous on these figures. Once you add a little bit of paintwork to them, they really come to life in the best way possible, showing you that, again, Sauria Models sculpting skill is out of this world, and without a doubt, these have got to be two of the best, if not the best, Chasmosaurus that I now have in my collection, and such a great species choice. I love Chasmosaurus. I have since I was a kid, and I did try to give this one a little bit of blue here in the frill, just to add a little bit of flashiness to maybe make this one look like the male, because I gave this one more of a little bit of a green look, and again, a little bit less as far as like the patterning in the frill to kind of give this one the look of being maybe the female. Just my own personal opinion in the way it looked, and I did try to kind of differentiate the colors of the bodies just a little bit while still kind of having the same similar color scheme overall. But again, the sculpting and fine detail of these Chasmosaurus are far and away some of the best I've ever seen. I feel like Sauria Models as a whole, they are just unbelievably underrated because their sculpting skills, and on top of that, actually their painting skills, if you haven't seen the Ichthyovenator review, definitely check that out. You'll get a kind of a look at what their painting skill is like. But honestly, their ceratopsians, and in general anything that I've seen from them so far, have been phenomenal. And same case for these incredible Chasmosaurus, two of the best models in my opinion that I now have in my collection. As far as a size goes, these are in 1/35th scale, so you may already have a pretty good idea of the size if you are familiar with this ceratopsian, and again what it would look like in 1/35th scale. Lengthwise, you are looking at about 4 3/4 inches, or around 12 centimeters for this kind of standing version, and about 2.5 inches, or a little over 6 centimeters in height to the top of the frill. Actually, when you get to this side, because of the head tilt, it's more like 2 3/4 inches, or around 7 centimeters to the top of this edge of the frill. And then for the kind of seated version, lengthwise you are looking at about 4 1/4 inches, or just shy of 11 centimeters. And then for a height, a little bit over 2 3/4 inches, or around 7 centimeters roughly. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A Human Being next to our Sauria Models Chasmosaurus pair, and you can see again that they aren't massive figures by any means, and you know, again, Chasmosaurus in 1/35th scale, you wouldn't expect them to be massive, so I would think that this should help to give you at least a pretty good idea of a size. But if not for a comparison that I feel like, if you are a collector of modern dinosaur models, will probably be most useful to you. Here is the How Long Good version of the Chasmosaurus next to the Sauria Models version, and you can see that they are, of course, both in 1/35th scale, also both roughly the same size overall. So without a doubt, if you already have the Chasmosaurus from How Long Good, you'll have a pretty good idea of the size of the Sauria Models version. And just in case you don't have the Chasmosaurus from How Long Good, for a few random ceratopsian comparisons, first of all, we have the How Long Good Xenoceratops, which you can see again is definitely a little bit bigger, as well as the How Long Good Pseudoceratops, which you can see is pretty similar in size, honestly, to the Xenoceratops. We've also got the Papostyracosaurus, which as well is a good bit larger. And for one final comparison, we have a repainted version of the Collect A Regaloceratops next to our Chasmosaurus from Sauria Models, again showing you that the Chasmosaurus is just a little bit bigger. So this Chasmosaurus pair from Sauria Models are without a doubt two of the nicest ceratopsian figures that I now have in my collection, and also just generally two of the most impressive sculpts I've seen from Sauria Models so far. Like, the detail on these are honestly fantastic. Once you actually get some paintwork on these and really allow the detail to shine, it is unbelievably impressive. Even more impressive than when you first get the model and you take a look at it again in that original coloration that it arrives in. Once you actually take a look at it again from then till now, like, it's night and day just how unbelievably nice the detail is on these figures. On top of that, I also love the fact that he's created kind of two of them, so you have a pair, and I like the fact that they are also in different poses, one with kind of a more relaxing pose where it's kind of sitting down but sort of maybe trying to get up, and then also a kind of standing version, and maybe the standing version is potentially trying to scare something away, because it kind of looks like maybe it's slightly in a confrontational pose, and the other one maybe looks like it's about to get up and kind of try to help the other one. I'm not really too sure what the idea behind the poses is exactly, but I think they both look great, very natural and very lifelike. The paintwork, of course, was done by me, so you can paint yours however you want, or you can, of course, have Sauria Models paint them for you. They will do commission paintwork again if you are interested. So if you would like to get these in your hands and add them to your collection, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that, of course, by checking them out on Instagram, contacting them, and ordering yourself a pair of these incredible Chasmosaurus. And, of course, you can, like I said, have them paint them for you if you don't want to paint them yourself. But definitely two fantastic releases. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.